When The Bride ended in my theater, people looked generally confused. And honestly, this might be the most accurate reaction to this movie. Because this film is insanely beautiful, ambitious, and strange, and slightly a mess. The Bride is directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, you know, the sister of Jake Gyllenhaal. This is her second film that she's directed, the first one being The Lost Daughter. And you can tell that this is a director with a very strong vision who got a lot of creative freedom. Because this movie blends dark fantasy, crime drama, romance, and the gothic art that you'd expect from a Tim Burton film, but you see it in this. And that ambition is actually very interesting, but it's also the main reason how come this movie feels so chaotic. One thing I do want to mention is that right away people are going to expect this to be a horror film, seeing that this is in the same universe as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and they hint on that, but The Bride really isn't a horror movie. The best way I can describe the tone of this film is take Bonnie and Clyde and add it with the chaos of the Joker and Harley Quinn. So if you're expecting a traditional monster film, this movie might actually surprise you. One thing this film absolutely nails is the atmosphere. The story starts in 1930s Chicago, and honestly, it's visually stunning. The production design, the costumes, the lighting, just everything about this world just comes off so visually stunning and beautiful. And honestly, this movie is so visually striking that if they would have filmed this in black and white and dropped it, it would have still went as hard as it did in color. And can we talk about the performances in this movie? Because honestly, that's what really hits hard in this film. Christian Bale plays Frankenstein's actual monster, and he really brings the emotional heart to the character and, you know, a little sprinkle of narcissism and manipulation. But you can feel the sadness and humanity in the monster while still seeing some of the darker traits that does make the character actually dangerous. Bale does walk that line very well, because I wasn't even expecting him to crush it like he did. And Jessie Buckley is actually very, very fascinating in this movie as well. She actually plays two different characters in this film, and she really does bring it. And with the energy that she does bring to this film, it does bring in an unpredictable and chaotic feel to it that's mainly established due to her. You can tell that she's putting everything into this performance. The only issue is that the script choices are a little strange, so depending on the viewer, it could be confusing or it could work very well. If you've seen it, comment below and tell me what you guys even thought about that. And we got Jake Gyllenhaal. He's actually in this movie as well, and I like that he's actually in a film directed and written by his sister. And for the time that he is in this film, he does bring it, and he does actually come off very charismatic. I know you guys probably already heard this and probably already thought this when you guys saw the movie, but this is what Joker 2 should have been. I know they're both from Warner Brothers, but what we've got with The Bride hits all the notes that Joker 2 couldn't. But there's no musical in this, so don't worry about that. But at its core, The Bride is really a love story, just not the clean and perfect kind. It's just really chaotic love. It's messy, tragic, frustrating, and sometimes beautiful, but all at the same time. You do feel sympathy for both Frank and The Bride, but at the same time, you see the choices that they make, which gets you so infuriated with this film. The best way I can describe it is just chaotic beauty. But this film does lean into a lot of feminine aspects. There are like multiple moments in this movie where most guys are written as predators, manipulative, abusive, and it is really a theme that they threw into this film with all the male characters. Well, a lot of them. It's showing that there are men in this world that can be extremely toxic, and it does broaden that horizon in this film, especially in 1930s Chicago. And whether viewers connect with that message or feel like it's a bit heavy-handed, that all depends on the viewer watching it. But those themes really do add the chaos to this movie. Like, there's a full-on dance scene, not a musical, that's so interesting and well put together. It gives me 95's The Mask without the mask being involved. You guys get what I mean, if you guys know. But where there's good, there's bad, and We'll talk about that. But while there's a lot to admire with the ambition in this film, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of flaws here. The pacing, for one, is rough. The film is about 126 minutes, and the first 30 minutes of the film makes it feel longer. It's a very slow start, and if the film doesn't actually grab you in the first 30 minutes, then it's kind of safe to say that this movie, moving forward, will not grab your attention, and you'll just probably just sit there not enjoying it. And the plot itself is all over the place. I don't think you could give someone an amount of substances to take to fully embrace the chaos of this film. The movie jumps so much between so many different ideas that sometimes when the film is prolonging, it starts to get less cohesive, to the point that you kind of do lose the certain plot that they're discussing. It just seems like Maggie was playing darts and just throwing darts at walls to hit ideas, but didn't really put them together for the story to make sense. And there's also a very weird subplot in this movie involving the detectives, which is Penelope Cruz and Maggie's husband Peter. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. I just know that it's not Skarsgård. But there's a subplot involving detectives that seems like it's completely unnecessary and slightly off the rails, and not in the fun way. And some of the creative choices are just downright weird. Not because the actors are bad. Everyone's performance in this was incredible. It's just because some of the choices made in this film were so bad, I got secondhand embarrassment from it. Like, these characters, I don't know if they're written to be that much of a pain in my butt and to be that annoying, but I guess it'll work for some of you guys. For me, it did not. The film does struggle with trying to figure out this identity, and with that being put on paper, it does end up being a catastrophic mess. But it does honestly feel like a traditional monster movie just backed up by a very big company. And it does have the ambition of an indie art film, but as you know, it is backed up by Warner Brothers. It almost feels like Warner Brothers just gave Maggie the key and was like, you know what? Here, just do whatever you want with this. We heard that you had an idea when you're like 16. Put it on paper. Don't even reread it. Just give it to us. We love it. Thumbs up. And sometimes that creative freedom does work, because I felt that in Sin Help. But in some movies like this, it comes off very weird and just very unorthodox. I can't wait to see what people actually think about this, because this film seems like it's going to divide so many people, and I'm here for that type of chaos. Some people admire the art and the ambition behind what the movie's actually trying to do, but others are going to go into this seeing that this movie is messy, convoluted, and seems like it's just an artistic disaster, because this movie does go all over the place, and a few people sitting next to me actually said the same thing. So with everything said and done, The Bride is actually a movie where you can see the creative art is in there, the ambition is in there. You can see what Maggie was going for, and you can see the talent that she bears to create something like this. The performances are strong. The gothic atmosphere is beautiful. The soundtrack is fantastic, and honestly, this movie is visually stunning. But the pacing is rough, the story is scattered, and some of the creative choices are downright confusing and kinda lame. And honestly, the best way I can describe this movie is that this movie was stitched together like Frankenstein's skin. But you could just take that however you want. But I genuinely can't wait to see what the audiences and the critics say about this film, because the reactions are going to be so mixed, and I'm hyped for that, because this is one of the most insanely beautiful but terribly structured films I've seen in a hot minute. So for me, The Bride, I give this a entertainment. But if you've seen The Bride already, let me know what you thought about it. Did the chaotic romance work for you? Or did you absolutely hate it and think this was a convoluted mess? And since lately we've had so many Frankenstein interpretations, I want you guys to comment below and tell me what your favorite one was. And if you like my vibe, comment below, like and subscribe. I'm James Hancock, signing off.